Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Tiffany Craig in the newsroom, and this is Dan Parsons. He is with the Better Business Bureau here in Houston, and he was on the schedule to come in today and talk about all sorts of scams, which we're open to talk about, but we're going to talk about the thing that's sort of front and center at the moment, which is flood damage, anything relating to bad weather. And when I mentioned that to Dan, he was like, got it. I already know what I'm going to talk about first. Wreckers?
Yeah. Okay, getting to the station to make sure I could do this was one thing I had in the back of my head. I have a loaner car today.
Oh.
That's what I forgot to tell you. So I can't wreck the car that I'm borrowing from a dealer. Let me take you back to that for a second. Wreckers are one of those things. During the flood stuff, we talk about insurance and about your what I would call preset arrangements you have with people who can help you. Well, this is another area for your car, or if you're with an auto club, if you have something with your dealer, with your insurance carrier, whatever, who can take care of your car, that's who you need to be calling. Not waiting around for one of the many very busy wreckers to come along and say, here I am to help you, maybe. Here's the second thing that's very important, and we're finding this is a major scam going on as we speak. It's actually been around, Tiffany, for years, but we're seeing it's raising its head. That's when you get a wrecker who comes in and says, oh, by the way, I got you all hooked up, we're ready to go, the fee's going to be really dinky, and I've got a shop for you. You should put on the brakes. Well, you can't because your car's flooded, but you should stop right then and go, hold on. Because chances are there's a kickback going on. Yeah, and again, it may be a lovely shop, but isn't it funny, most of the time we find that the shops are not good, and the wrecker companies are not good, and you got a double problem. So your place is going in where your insurance company may not approve the repair, where you're stuck. And all of a sudden, your little cheap repair gets very expensive as they start putting on storage fees and additional fees, and it can get into four figures real quick. So you've got to control the thing. I know that's hard to say when you're sitting underwater. Other cars are being moved off, but again, know who you're paying. And drive the train. You got to be the one who says, no, I want to go, my dealer is this, or the shop I trust is this. That's where I want to go.
I think for a lot of us, I've luckily never been in this situation, but I've certainly interviewed people who are, and you're kind of scatterbrained at the time.
That's with accidents. Yeah, when people have been injured, you're on the back of a stretcher, your car is not really high in your mind, but it needs to be. And getting a lot of these things done prematurely, getting them done in advance and knowing what your options are and what you've prearranged.
So really be proactive.
Yeah.
I mean, we're very much a reactive society, but I think it makes sense.
And if I had to do an operative word for this day today, whether it's wreckers, flooded cars, houses, whatever, it's insurance. We all got it. Some have better than others. We may not have flood insurance, and you may not need it. But for the majority of things, you've got an insurance carrier. This is when you get on the phone. They're right now hiring employees, contract employees, to come in and handle Houston, Texas. I can tell you that for a fact. I've talked to people in other cities today, in other business. They go, oh man, down in Houston, you guys have got a real problem there. So they know. They already know. We're on the radar with all the insurance companies. So for the next couple of days, as we go through this thing, those are the people that you're supposed to reach out to, where you have a relationship, where you've paid those premiums. You hire them.
Right.
So why are we suddenly turning around and getting real shy and nervous, like, oh, I don't want to bother them, I know they're busy. Yeah, with you, they should be busy.
So for those of you that are just joining us, Dan Parsons with the Better Business Bureau is here, and we're not only talking to you, we're also taking your questions, and we're going to answer some of your questions. So if you have, and it may not pertain to flooding or anything like that, we're kind of open to answer any kind of scam questions, but obviously with the weather that we've had today, and heck, over the last few days, these issues have come up when it comes to things like contractors. What about, all right, I've got some damage. We know that some areas got some damage. What do you have to worry about there?
I have a broken record on this, but back to the insurance company again. Back to the insurance company. You've got damage. If you have coverage, for your home, you've got to see first of all what's available. Roofers are out. They're making the rounds, and rightfully so. I've learned in the last couple of years the word storm chaser used to be a bad word to us.
Right.
It's now kind of a factual word, because you can be a company that goes out and follows the damage and do it reputably. So it's not necessarily a bad word. It's storm chasers that are crooked that are bad. But ones that go out and are looking for the business where it may really be there and where people really may have valid claims, that's not all wrong. They may be actually helping you. But again, You can't do anything if you want to put it on an insurance policy until you talk to an adjuster. So that's got to be call number one. So, let them offer you things, but don't sign anything. Don't commit to it until you got your agent or rep or claims person who has come out with their person and said, you're right, the roof's a mess. It's going to be who's your company again? Oh, yeah, we're okay with that. Here's the deal. And everybody's agreeing.
I know what people are probably thinking right now. I'm in a hurry. I want to get this done. I want to get things back to normal. And you might try to kind of push the envelope.
Tiffany, you raised the magic thing. It's being made whole. That's citizenry today.
Sure.
In some cases, a lot of people jump fast. They really aren't that bad off. They may have something a tarp can cover. You want to be safe, but don't jump into the frying pan while you're trying. Don't let the disaster hit twice. That's the problem people get into.
We're all guilty of doing that.
Well, we all are, because again, you're looking for being made valid very, very quickly. So again, the faster you get to your adjuster, to your company, the quicker they can give you a go-ahead or something to say, yeah, engage it, move on. But in the meantime, hey, handymen, they're all over the city. They're not licensed, they're not registered. They may be enough to go, let me put a temporary thing here. I'm not a roofer, it's not what I do, but I can do a quick repair. Stop it from leaking in your house. Not all bad.
Okay. Dawn just says thank you. She just thank you for the information. Well, you're more than welcome, Dawn.
Hope she's dry. Hope everything's good.
Right. I tell you what, is there anything else? We're going to move on to a couple of the other ideas that you and I sort of talked about, but is there anything else, other things you want to point out to people post bad weather, post storms, flooding, that kind of thing?
Watch companies coming in from out of the area. I mentioned earlier, this is already a national issue. Okay, that tells you something right there. People around the state of Texas and so we're going to see people from Louisiana. We're going to see people we're going to see cars being sold from markets. Watch the out-of-town folks. And I'm not going to put a blanket rule that they're all bad, because I know we have Houston contractors who are just over in San Antonio doing business, both good and bad.
Sure.
So again, a little local control is not a bad thing, because when you got a problem, I can find them. They're here. I can get local. One of the worst things you have in law enforcement, this guy's ripped off 20 people. They're Houston victims. Where's the company located? Tulsa, Oklahoma. The prosecutors suddenly just get really disinterested because it's like it's a jurisdictional problem. So stay local when you can.
Yeah.
I sound like an economist putting it back in the economy. It's really putting your protection ahead.
So someone here is basically talking about stay local, stay with people that are local, which is obviously what you're talking about. Heather Tyler, she says, this is a little off subject, but still within the situation of potential scams. I'm getting lots of letters that look tax related about the house, such as designation of homestead request forms. How do I know which ones are real?
Okay, anything related, and listening to the description of it, that document is probably from the appraisal district, saying whether she's got the standard exemption over 65, what exemption she has. Those generally came a few weeks ago, so I'm a little concerned that she's getting something now. But if it was back, it should have been a postcard. It's usually a postcard that says, "Hi, we're your local appraisal district. Here's how we're vetting your status, just so you know." And then you'll be getting the full-blown thing with your taxes on it.
Yeah.
So those are legitimate. What she wants to be careful of is anybody who comes in and says, "Oh, we can pay to file your exemption for you." No, you don't have to do that. It's free. And it's unfortunate. It's not against the law to do it. There's actually a company there in Austin, and they were in trouble with the state attorney general a few years ago because they were using very official state seals. It looked like a government entity. It wasn't. And so people were falling for it and dropping $35. It wasn't real expensive, but it was, again, for something you could go down and do on your own. So she needs to make sure it's really from a government entity. If she's any doubts, we can go over it with her on the phone and tell her what it is.
I got something similar to that, but then you start reading the backside and you look at the fine print, and it will say this is not a document, an official document from the state of Texas or whatever it may be.
It's junk mail. But I give them credit for
it looks legit. I mean, it looks official.
Yeah, and let me tell you, they did not want to put that on the back of the thing, which means they knew what would happen if they did. So okay, junk mail may be harsh, but chances are, again, it's something that you can. They have these same things for what they call finders, unclaimed funds. People will have money that's been escrowed. Again, they can take. The law allows these folks to take a percentage based on a contract.
So Karen Neal says reports from website Nextdoor, you know, the Nextdoor app, where neighbors can talk to neighbors, of offers of free roofing replacement if your roof has not been replaced within the last 10 years. Is that a scam?
Maybe. Depends if your roof needs it. That's the bottom
Free
line.
roofing. I don't know. What's free these days?
Well, if your roof, I'm going to make a simple answer. If your
Okay.
roof is insured and has a very good insurance policy and is catastrophically damaged, it's probably going to be replaced free. It probably will happen. Don't forget, a lot of the problems that have gotten into the insurance industry have been over years. Insurance carriers basically just being swamped and going, whatever, we're approving it. And then they've gone back to a little harsher view of, okay, we want to see, what was done, how it was done. And of course, they also work areas of town. They know, hey, we had tornadoes here, we had wind here. They can isolate it down a little bit. But as a general rule, no. It's just like you're not guaranteed, to pass in your income taxes. You're not guaranteed a free roof. It don't work that way. You may be eligible, but again, it's a very operative name.
So Oscar Luna, yes, you're right, James. Nothing is free in life. Well, I'm not really sure what he means exactly, but what about companies that use endorsements like Angie's List or the BBB?
Okay. Well, that's
He
good.
is the BBB.
I am the BBB,
So there's
and
that, first of all.
Angie's List is one of our, and I use the word competitors in quote. They do a lot of what we do. I'm going to say something that's going to shock your viewers.
Here it is. Everybody, pay attention.
You know what, folks? Use them all. Use them all. Seriously. I have a little prejudice for mine, but
Sure.
Angie's List, I will tell you right now, they grab their data from us. I have rarely found an Angie's List report that doesn't have the same stuff of ours in it. And that's good. That means they're mirroring it to their membership organization. You have, where I get a little more concerned, like a Yelp, where it's more like free form, social media, a little less controlled. So
Yeah.
they're a little more out there. But other review sites, Tiffany, this is the day of empowered consumer. So I tell people,
And I love that.
yeah, use all of them. Use all of them. In fact, and use them in here's the lawyer word, what lawyers call the due diligence check. So you're looking at a contractor for us, Angie's List, good. Let's see, we in Houston, we have the Greater Houston Builders Association. It's a trade group of people that are all pretty above board. Are they a member of that? Oh, let's go a little deeper into the community. What about the local chamber? Again, that's not for business ethics, but that shows you're in the community, you're engaged, you're doing things. So the more association things, generally those are good people. Those are people that are out, and they're engaged in their community. Our report has gotten dumbed down to be very simple. It's a rating. What do you want to see? A plus, A, maybe a B plus, and that's about it. And on top of it, accredited, the word we used to use for member. We don't use member anymore. We call it accredited.
Yeah.
And they're going through this.
Well, it's easy and it's fast to be able to see that and get it.
Yeah,
And
so-
then kind of know, at least have an idea of what you're
Right,
dealing with.
but you want
right?
the higher grades.
Right.
Same thing with Angie and her stars or whatever she uses. You want to see ones that have a lot of them. And what you're looking for ultimately is a comparison that all these things are adding up to one profile. It's good. Everybody's happy. Everyone's saying good things.
Right. Okay, so for those of you just joining us, Dan Parsons is joining me today from the Better Business. Look, he's sitting up straight with the Better Business Bureau, and we're talking about scams. And we're opening this up to any of your questions and anything you might have that is questionable that you've seen or you've received, and you want to know if it's a scam. Now's your chance to ask, because we get to pick Dan Parsons' brain for a little longer anyway. But a few things that he mentioned to me when we were talking about doing this interview today, I think all of you will be interested in. There's a Super Bowl scam.
When you get a big event that brings in 150,000 people, people go nuts.
Yes,
and
they do.
some bad things. Now, I'm a little less worried about ticket problems this year because that event, the Super Bowl, they've gotten really good. So we have not seen a single fake ticket thing. I think, first of all, they're hard to get. So I think we're going to be pretty good. I'm getting nervous as we get closer to the date. I'm more worried about knockoff merchandise, counterfeits, things like that. And the reason I'm nervous is two reasons. Houston has a lot of companies that do that. That make that stuff. They're right here in our backyard, and it's genuine Super Bowl with 2 L's instead of 1. Things like that.
No one's going to notice that extra L.
Well, you want to mark it out, then you can feel good about your T-shirt. The second problem, Tiffany, besides making it here, is that we're important. so we get easy access in from areas that also make them. And I'm not, this
sure.
won't shock you. It's Asia. It's the Philippines. It's some from Mexico. You're going to have knockoffs that are going to try to take advantage. So a lot of people, and I have people, I see women walk around with fake purses, and they bought it for $20, and it was really
Like a Gahuchi?
yeah, or a Rolex with double X's. At the end of it. And
Right.
if they're happy with it, okay, that's good. But just understand, you're not helping the Super Bowl. You're not helping the and you're basically empowering counterfeiters. So be aware of it.
Got it. All right, so I'm going to skip to a question, and then we're going to go back to another one, which I love that we're going to talk about. Administrative assistant jobs advertised through ZipRecruiter. Happened to me twice. Fake jobs.
I hate people that
Thanks for
rip
that,
off.
Vanessa.
I hate people that rip off people looking for work.
I know, right?
There's a special place in hell for it. There's a lot of that going on. Some of it's identity phishing. What they're trying to do is get you to fill out information, steal your identity.
Sure.
And you're
that
doing
makes
it because
sense.
you're interested. I'm going to give you
Yeah.
everything but and they'll make it come on in lieu of a job offer. Bottom line is, first of all, if you're not hearing from a valid recruiter or a real company or stay away from it. You just can't take the chance with it, no matter how anxious your job search is.
So Peter says, I had a law firm claiming I owed on a student loan, collecting for Westwood College after they shut down.
Yep.
Tell me that I owe money, but present the original loan application as their proof I owed.
Hey, breaking news on his situation. All those, okay, we had that one. We've had several IT Technical Institute that went out. He needs to sit tight and watch the news, because here's what's going on. A lot of those student loans, the new administration coming in has already said we may be working greatly deferred. This is a moving target right now. So first of all, he doesn't need to worry. You know, it's probably not going to be the full amount, especially when they close. The law firm is just collecting the money. They're, I don't want to say a disinterested party. They're only interested in getting what they can before it all gets officially adjudicated on who's going to get what. He needs to sit tight for a while, find out what they finally end up mandating. And it could be, we're hearing rumors that it may be 50% of the debt paid over a much greater period of time. The problem, Tiffany, is that the institution that went bankrupt or is gone sold the paper. So some finance company now has that, and they're the ones that are seeking it. To which I would argue, hey, bad decision to go with a trade school that didn't stick around. But at the end of the day, these aren't the kind of debts that should keep you up at night. They can get big, but I really see some reform coming there, as opposed to like tax debts or things like that, yeah, the government ain't going away.
Kristen, you are trying to ask a question, but I'm not quite sure what you're asking. I live by 290. How bad is that? I'm not sure what she's asking.
I don't know. It's a long way from my office. It's
I
a
know
long
290
drive.
can be a headache,
Yeah.
but I'm not.
She's probably asking a weather question.
Oh, flooding there. You know
know.
what? At this very moment, I don't know. We're sitting kind of in the corner of the newsroom, and I don't.
I mean, the rain's been quiet for a while.
Yeah, I don't have that answer. But I bet you, if you were to watch our newscast at 6 o'clock, they will talk about that.
Yep.
So, Kristen, I'm sorry I don't have that answer. What is this? All right, you know what? I'm going to move on to something else, because I so enjoy talking about these dating scams. Valentine's Day is right around the corner. We know that. Surely, there's no scam involved with these dating sites and with dating whatevers.
Some of this is a shock to a lot of people, but some of the biggest online, nationally known dating services are on really bad reports. They really are. They're not based in Houston. They're not in our market.
The ones that we might see
The
advertised
ones that
on
you
TV
might see on
and that
TV,
kind of thing?
some of them have really bad reputations.
Okay.
Here's what you need to do. First of all, here's the problem. You're dealing with emotion, but you're really dealing with business. So when you go in, you got your heart at one level, but you need to have your head at the other level, and your checkbook at even another level, because you're walking in, okay, their reputation. And so when we've got bad ratings on them, that's generally meaning you're not getting refunds properly, they're not average. There could be problems. In other words, read those reports deeply, and if you see things like that, you may still go in and do business. But just understand, we've told you this is what the problem is, and you may not meet Mr. or Ms. Wonderful, and you may not get your money back.
But they're looking for love.
I know, but they're looking for your money. So just understand the two don't necessarily, the old days of matchmakers, and I actually, years ago, I found one woman who had a company, and she literally had Polaroids all over her desk.
Uh-huh.
And her business was, okay, these two go together. And I kind of, in a way, respected it, because she didn't get complaints. Because, she was trying. She was
Like a puzzle? Like,
yeah,
this goes with this.
it was not
and
very
this goes-
scientific, but she was kind of like, but she had, unlike a company that, we'll send you out and good luck, she was really, okay, these two look like they would go together.
All right. Raquel says, watch out for Publishers Clearinghouse scams on Facebook. You heard of those?
Yes. Publishers Clearinghouse, how do I say this nicely, is a real company. They do magazines.
Okay.
They really have a business. Okay, your odds, here's a good thing for a rainy day. This is an actual statistic. Your odds of winning a 7-figure prize at Publishers Clearinghouse, $1 million or more, you are more likely to be struck and killed by lightning than to win the prize. So when you go to your mailbox and you come back to comparing all this, stop wasting your time. They're selling you magazines. Your odds of winning the thing are just, the Texas lottery's more likely for you. It ain't going to happen. So if you're in the magazine game, they're okay. But if you're in the prize game, you're wasting your time. And as your social media person there is pointing out, they are tied to a lot of scams because people all know about it. Oh, you've entered it, you just didn't realize it. Again, these are all identity theft tricks.
Sure.
Get in and get information.
Okay, so one other. No one likes to talk about taxes and tax season, but with that comes a host of scams.
Well, this has been going on for a long time, and the problem is we're worried now because the real tax season between now and April is about to hit. Many people have received the phone calls from the IRS. And Tiffany, it gets worse. People have even reported drive-ups to their home with folks wearing raid jackets that say Internal Revenue Service.
Here?
Yeah, here in Houston. It's actually happened. Where they walked in and said, hi, you owe us this. Go down and get an iTunes card to put the 10,000. And people, of course, they're carrying identity. They're scared. The reason the scam works...
Wow, I've never heard of that. People coming to your door?
It's gotten very brazen. Or if you call them out, if you say, I know what you are, you're a scam, actually going on, calling your employer, threatening you, calling the police and saying, hey, there's a big pot party going on at this house in Braeswood. Hit it right now. Well, the police are like, what? I mean, they're vindictive. They're evil people. And by the way, they're smart also. The phone, using the telephone, Washington, D.C. area codes.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
so
I
that
do
you're
know
looking
about
at
that,
it. Now, the fact that the man's accent is from, obviously, another country. That
right.
And they're all from another country. But they're pervasive, and they're very, very good at it. Here's a bottom line. The IRS will never call you on the phone. I'm going to make that as a blanket. They're just not going to call you on the phone. They're going to reach you by snail mail, and it's going to be an oversized envelope, and you're going to look at it and go, I got a problem.
Yeah,
but that's how they reach you. And I take one exception that did happen. If they come to your door with the proper badges, and it's probably going to be what they call Criminal Intelligence Division, you or somebody you know has got a problem. But they'll have all the proper identification, and it's not about your taxes. It's about usually crimes against the IRS. Usually you're a crook. That's why they're coming to your door. But other than that, the phone is not it. The internet is not it. It's not how they reach you. But, Tiffany, how they get people is the tax-paying, honest citizens who've never run into this are sitting here going, maybe I missed something. I've had 2 parents pass away in a relatively short time.
Yeah.
I've dealt with estates. So when I had to call one of those calls, I first thought, did I miss something? And then I stopped and go, wait a minute. I preach this every day. But you know what they did? They got me to pause. They got me to stop them.
Sure. And that's what's scary.
Yeah. And again, you're going to run out, you're going to buy a money grant, you're going to do, that's not how the government takes money from you. No.
We're going to kind of circle back to the beginning just so we can wrap up. What are some takeaways when it comes to scams, whether it's sort of a blanket recommendation you can give, or specifically when it comes to post-storms and post-flooding?
Two major things I could put out.
Okay.
The old, if it sounds too good to be true, and we've covered a couple of these just in the last few minutes, between the dating thing, between winning money, between things that are, again, just a little too good to be true. They are too good to be true. They're not going to happen.
Even though you really want them to be true.
Yeah, you want
And I've
them-
been in that position.
We all are.
This could be.
All
This could be though.
And the second one ties to it.
Yeah.
Time is your friend. And in most cases, you have, even if you really want to believe it, you have the time to do the research and go back and go, wait a minute, if this deal's still good here, it'll be good 12 hours later after I've gone on and done all my checking
Yeah.
to find out. And that goes even with the damage that goes on today.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Hey, it's been a bad day. It's going to maybe a bad day tomorrow. But you don't want to make it a bad month. You want to be able to go back and say, listen, I've done my homework. I've got it done right. Those two things.
Very good words. Very, very good information. Again, this is Dan Parsons with the Better Business Bureau. And take that extra time.
Yeah.
Take that little bit of extra time and research. That, I mean, that's what we do when we cover news. I mean, we have to take that extra time.
Most scams are preventable. They really are. Most of them, I mean, are truly preventable. You know what I hate when I see repeat scams? Like I'll see a really bad one, like work at home letters, and we'll tell the person, they'll go, well, what about this one? And it's like, you've been listening for the last 5 minutes because it ain't any better.
Now, you heard it here. Thanks, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.